It wasn't done.
Okay. Tell me when you're ready, Pam.
Anytime.
I'd like to call to order the May Planning Agency meeting. We have one absent agent and two present. So we have our quorum. And Pam, I'm going to turn it over to you to lead us in this discussion.
We have two ML 239M referrals today. The first is a project under the town of Kingsbury planning for consideration for site plan approval. This is Cellco partnership or Verizon Wireless for 224 Park Road. It's called the Floyd Bennett Wireless Communications Facility because it's fairly close to the Floyd Bennett Airport. And the reason why it's come to us is it's 500 feet of the town of Queensbury municipal border. So the statement of intent has a lot of information, the application that was submitted to us, but a summary is that there's the proposed construction of a new public utility personal wireless service facility consisting of a 124 greater or less than foot monopole with lighting. The site will provide dominant and dedicated signal to identified portions of the town of Kingsbury, including the Floyd Bennett Memorial Airport and surrounding residential, commercial area and businesses across this portion of town. There's going to be a co-location of panel antennas on 3 antenna base frames at about 115 plus or minus feet, cellular and utility equipment at grade in a 50 foot by 50 foot fence compound area, cabling connecting antennas to Verizon wireless telecommunications equipment. Anticipation to require obstruction lighting and or marking due to the airport, emergency backup generator, underground power and telephone fiber necessary to operation of the facility. And a 12-foot gravel drive access via Park Road. The FAA has requested that there's a beacon light on the top of the tower. And let's see, I just made a couple of notes just to find some information that might be helpful to look at as you're thinking about this. The land lease agreement is with Washington County Sewer District number 1. It's already been signed by Supervisor Hanke.
Resolution number 158 was passed on May 17th of last year by the board approving said agreement.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that.
Oh. And let's see, Queensbury. Queensbury Community Services are written into the environmental statement on page 3. So fire and police. The question often with these things is the question of co-location that was addressed, and actually you can find it on the site selection analysis on page 3, which is kind of like toward the maps back of the thing. I can find it easily for you if you need it. In the past, when we've had things near the airport, and when there's when it's here for the 500 feet of a municipal border, we've provided through the planning agency a letter to the county planner director in Warren County. And so, so I just brought up this in piece, but that was what we did in the past. There is on the EAF, there's this is a class P site, meaning that there's a DEC investigation that's not complete on the site. They've determined that there's contamination with, looks like between my writing, fluorofluoric acid. Anyway, it's in the works.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think. And then the site plan is C-1A and C2 is the site plan detail plan. I refer to that. That's 11.
So Pam, summarizing it all up, do you feel that all paperwork is in order to move forward?
They had a full statement and they did have an FAA analysis. They have lots of
So
maps and all.
The answer is yes or no. Do you feel comfortable that all paperwork's in order?
I do.
I do.
And you, Dan?
I do.
And what is your thoughts on the matter, Tim?
Well, I have no concern for this.
And I second that motion. Do we need to discuss this further before we vote?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
It's a matter of local concern.
Yeah, like me to make the motion?
You just did, and I seconded it. But you said you had no concerns.
No.
What is it?
Is that clear enough, or do you want a more
It's
formal?
a matter of local.
Yeah,
Refer it back as a matter of local concern.
Very good.
Need to vote on.
And we'll send a letter to.
And I second that, the matter of local concern. All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Opposed, carries.
You should probably vote, because if he's the only one that's on there, you need two.
Well, I voted twice. I didn't want to vote for you.
Well, I just wanna make sure that it's clear, because if there's only two of you. And only
I'm
one
with you.
votes for it, it fails, because it's 1 out of 3.
Relative to this, just a comment,
Yeah.
significant when you have large attendance over there, things like the balloon festival, cell service is at a minimum. So that certainly will improve, much like did when we were able to get one down to the fairgrounds. Site. So, a big help over there.
Yeah.
So Pam, you got my aye vote as far as.
Yes, and
All
I'll be
agree.
sending a letter to Warren County. Is that okay with the?
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
All right, so if we're ready to move on, the second project is the one that we tabled last month, because we didn't have a full statement. And this is the project under the Village of Port Edward Planning Board consideration for site plan approval. The applicant Rashid Bhatti with Spring Motor Inn at 215 Broadway. And this is to add 7 seasonal cabins. And the purpose of the GML review is 500 feet of New York State Route 4. And this is the construction of 7 30 by 36 2-room seasonal cabins with a 6 by 30 porch. They're to be elevated above grade on sonotubes, and the project proposal includes hookup to public water and sewer. And as of last month, the village had already connected with the sewer, and they said that there was enough size, the right size pipe to be able to hook up the cabins. And they were working on getting a letter from the water district, and I didn't follow up to see if they got the letter. It's good that they were trying to get a letter. But I did get the site plan, which you have in your packet as a smaller version, but in case it's site. And I just want to make note that they're proposing a new ingress at the back of the property, road there. It is Marion Street.
It's either coming in from the back now too. Do you see any reason, Pam, why this would not be strictly a matter of local concern?
That it would have intermunicipal impacts.
Any impact to the county, adverse or?
Adverse impacts to the county. From a site, because we're reviewing this as site plan review, so from a site plan review, I don't see. But on the other hand, I'm not like the planning agency, just the admin, so I don't want to put in my.
Well, I mean, you're the closest to the project,
Closest
you've
thing to
done
the
most
project.
work on.
Yeah,
Charlie, I'll get you in a second, but I want to ask Tim if he had any questions on this before I recognize Charlie.
I don't think so, temporary housing, seasonal only.
Charlie, you're there.
I don't think write this to something that the site plan review would consider, but this business is primary client is ESS here and Warren County. 100%. And there will be impact from what sometimes is safety factors for people that are attending and living in these places temporarily. And that's probably not our purview, but it will have safety impacts.
We have gotten part 2 of the. Separate as well.
I don't think so. Well, they may not have finished it. Sometimes we get the part one, usually more often we get the part one, and then like if they need to go to part two later. I don't know if that. This is empty because I ran it against the EAF mapper, because sometimes the applicant doesn't necessarily know to do that, and I check things. In fact, I think I saw
Yeah, it's
something that was.
things on-
Yes, I made a note, right? I wrote that under 12, the structure is listed on either state or national register historic historic places, and the EA mapper returned yes. I know it's a homestead landscape, but
Yeah, the other thing is, this says not your water body and then
and it
mapper says
says-
yes.
Yes, and now I think the mapper, and I haven't got confirmation of this, but I believe because of the wetland rules that passed and are in effect since the first of that EAF mapper comes in as yes all the time, because the rules and the need for each property owner and parcel owner to take responsibility for determining. And I have been trying to educate the boards about that. I'm not sure understood the information.
I guess my question, especially with the wetlands. One saying yes and one saying no. Here we go.
Well, the state says in their database says yes. And the client or whomever filled this out said no, and there's a chance that they may have missed the EAF mapper, which would be the official state.
So especially as the proposed site or joining property then subject to remediation, I assume it's on the Hudson, which is. That's a branch. Sent back comments for clarification on how. Get clarification on, shall we say discrepancies?
And third discrepancies, EAF.
Yeah. Because a couple of them seem potentially be fairly significant. The third thing is, at the registry of the archaeological sensitive area.
So I could actually say EAF mapper and name which numbers and.
Yeah.
So are you saying something is missing or,
Well, what I'm saying is, for example, he filled out his EAF here.
uh-huh,
And there are 3 questions on his EAF that says no. But Pam kind of ran it against the mapper, mapper says yes. So you kind of have inconsistencies
okay,
with regard to archaeologically sensitive area, wetlands. And proposed action adjoining property subject to remediation for hazardous waste. He's checked no on all 3, and the mapper says yes.
So. Are those the only concerns that you have, Pamela? Or the only discrepancies that you might identify?
Those are the ones that I identified when I went through the EAF, and I run the EAF mapper just because sometimes the applicants don't necessarily know about, or may not have been advised about running it through that way. It's advised to run it through that way, and so I check sometimes when I think that it's a little curious.
So should we send this back? With no action other than the comments, or should we send it back with action in the comments?
Well, I would say at the very least, it's probably not our local concern, but they should, with the comments, so you gotta clear up
The discrepancies. All right. So I'll make a motion that we send it back as a matter of. With the noted deficiencies and ask that they.
correct
clarify
the,
their,
correct the error.
Confirm the discrepancy. Resolve the discrepancies.
I can support that. All in favor, say aye.
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 I heard you that then.
Okay.
Rather be safe than sorry.
The good news is there's only two of us, we can tell our voices apart.
So now, we're done with the referrals and we have a couple of APA notices. Application determined, we saw a project in October of 2024, it's a minor public notice in the town of Port Anne, Stevenson Way, for a 2-lot subdivision. And then the next one is a certificate under general permit, town of Port Anne, Pilot Knob Road. This relates to the Monopine telecommunication tower that we've talked about in prior meeting. Actually, I couldn't find the date of that. And then the application received major project public notice, town of Fort Anne, Buttermilk Falls Road for a 3-lot subdivision. And we received 2 reports of final action, one from the town of Fort Anne Planning Board. This is for the communications facility that is referenced in the certificate of general permit from the APA. And we saw this on November 26, 24, and the local board approved the action for this project on May 6, 25. And then the town of Granville Planning Board, the Mineral Hill Storage Project, we reviewed that in April 1st, and the local board approved action for this project, date of local action for 17.5. And that's, I just, something that's just sort of other, just that I received a couple of letters from the Department of Ag and Markets. And that Washington County, reaffirmed a couple of ag districts 1 and 2. Oh, and then this, but it's nothing to report. Planning agency. And that's it.
So there was no action needed there, you just FYI, correct?
No, it's FYI, of course, with the APA, it's always like there's an opportunity for comment, which is why we received the notices. So that's why I bring them here.
Tim, do you have anything else you want to bring before this planning board agency meeting? Dan or Pam, do you have anything else?
We've hit everything on the agenda.
Then I declare this meeting adjourned.